Gold dealership firm Menzgold has dragged the Bank of Ghana and the Securities and Exchange Commission to court, accusing the two of hurting its business. The suit filed Thursday, a copy of which has been intercepted by Joy News, is asking the court to slap aggravated damages on the two institutions. The company insists the notices given by BOG and SEC have been nothing more than abuse of office, which has caused considerable reputational damage to the company. The plaintiff wants an order of the court to restrain the two bodies from unnecessarily interfering in its business. At a news conference on Thursday, Chief Executive Officer of the company, Nanaya Sosse, assured its customers it will commence payment of dividends due them from Friday, but says there will be a payment schedule.
Menzgold Ghana Limited has filed suit this afternoon against the Bank of Ghana and the Securities and Exchange Commission. We have been constrained to do so because we have been left with no other choice. Under the circumstances, we have filed suit to seek a healthy determination of our rights to enable us make progress. In the interim period, we are very much alive to the needs of our customers. It is, however, important to note that the recent circumstances has dislodged the shape and the projections of our business. To that end, we have set out a payment schedule starting tomorrow to be circulated to all our customers. Customers are encouraged to only visit their branches on the date for their collections, as the schedule will strictly be adhered to avoid overcrowding at the branches. It is pertinent to note, however, that the period starting Wednesday, 12 September 2018 to date, whilst the gold vault market has remained forcefully shut by the Securities and Exchange Commission, regrettably shall not attract any form of returns whatsoever, as the business of the gold trade has been and still is dormant. Finally, the date of the shutdown of the gold trade, the firm cannot process any kind of termination on the gold vault until a healthy restoration is determined by the courts. It is important to note that but for these unwarranted obstructions, Menzgold has had 100% unblemished record with regards to payment of extra values to traders. In our 5 years of operations, there isn't any single case on record suggesting default payment as a variable matter of fact. We wish to state these statements or make this pronouncement as against the ongoing little dispute, I may call it, or misunderstanding, which we believe that in order to seek justice, we have confronted, or we have sent our plea to the courts of competent jurisdiction. And we believe that at the end of the day, we believe strongly that Ghana shall prosper.
Well, my colleague Aisha Ibrahim has been going through the writ that's been filed by the company, and she's going to be taking us through it, giving us some details in there. Now, Aisha, what can you tell us about the reliefs that the company is seeking? Okay, before we even talk about the reliefs, let's look at some of the reasons Menzgold is suing the Bank of Ghana and Securities and Exchange Commission, and it's suing the first defendant, of course, is the Bank of Ghana, right, and Securities and Exchange Commission is the second defendant. Now, what they are seeking to do, the reason they're suing these two people, they say that recent publications that were made on the 28th November 2017 by the first defendant, and it's also talking about another publication that was made by the second defendant, which is Securities and Exchanges Commission, on the 22nd of September 2017. One of them, the second defendant, informed the public, the general public, that Menzgold Ghana Limited has neither been licensed nor their adverts sanctioned by the Securities and Exchange Commission to carry out any activity in the capital market as mandated by Section 3C of the Securities Industry Act 2016. That's the Act 929. And that's one of the things they say has affected, because they describe that as a curiously
issued, he says the notice was curiously issued at that time when the first defendant was also claiming that the plaintiff's activities were deposit taking. And you know the plaintiff, which is Menzgold. So they're seeking a number of reliefs, about 12 of them. First, Menzgold is seeking a declaration that the plaintiff, which is Menzgold, the plaintiff's business does not fall within the present legislated scope of the banks and specialized deposit taking instituted in that Act 930, Act 2016, and it's also seeking a declaration that the plaintiff's business activities does not fall within the present legislative scope of the Security Industry Act 2016, Act 929. Right. It goes ahead to say that it wants a declaration also by the High Court that the first defendant's notices, which is numbered and it's dated 6th August 2016 and 28 November 2017 respectively, have hurt the business reputation of the plaintiff, which is Menzgold. And then it's also seeking a declaration that the second defendant, which is Security and Exchanges Commission, the notice, which, and it gives the number here, dated 22nd September 2017, has also harmed the business reputation of the plaintiff, which is Menzgold. It also seeking a declaration that the first defendant, which is Bank of Ghana, the notices it gave on the 6th August 2018 and 28 November 2017 respectively, are an abuse of the defendant's discretionary powers, contrary to Article 23 and Article 296 of the 1992 Constitution. So here it's seeking to say that Bank of Ghana did not have that powers that it assumed at that time when it issued those notices, which Menzgold says it's affecting their business. Now it's going ahead to also seek a declaration that the second defendant, which is the Security and Exchanges Commission, they also issued a notice on the 22nd September 2017. And they're saying that that notice that was issued by the Security and Exchanges Commission is an abuse of the defendant's discretionary powers, contrary to Article 23 and Article 296 and 296 of the 1992 Constitution. You know, Article 23 talks about abuse of discretionary powers. And so, of course, so it's accusing the SEC of, you know, abusing the powers that it has. Probably it's gone beyond that power. Now, a declaration that the Menzgold is also seeking is that the High Court should give a directive contained in the letter of September 7, 2018, which was an abuse of the second defendant's discretion, as same was arbitrary. And it says, it also describes it as capricious and contrary to Article 23 and Article 296 once again. So it's accusing the Bank of Ghana and Security Exchanges Commission of going beyond their discretionary powers. And it's also seeking an order that should set aside those directives contained in the second defendant's letter dated 7th September 2018. It's also asking for an order of the court, and it's saying that an order of the court directed at the first and second defendants to publish an unqualified retraction and an apology with the same prominence with respect to the notices dated August 6, 2018 and September 22, 2017 respectively. And if you come down here to the last 2 points they made, Menzgold is asking for an order of a perpetual injunction to restrain the first and second defendants, its officers, servants, and agents from interfering with the plaintiff's business activities or further acts of disobedience and non-compliance with law by publishing any such derogatory notices. And it goes ahead to say exemplary and aggravated damages for the harm caused to the plaintiff business reputation. So it's now also seeking for a relief or compensation for its reputation.
But they're not stating how much
it's been damaged. No, they've not stated how much they're seeking to take as compensation. But Menzgold is also asking for an order specifying a time limit within which the judgment of this court should be complied with. And it ends its you know, the relief they're seeking with one, a general damage, and also cost inclusive of the plaintiff's legal fee. So they're asking Bank of Ghana and the Security and Exchanges Commission to also include in the compensation they are going to give them legal fees that they are going to be spending in going through.
Except they are not asking for any specific figures.
They're not. They've not specified that here.
Thank you very much, Aisha Ibrahim. And staying with the cause, founder of defunct Unibank, Dr. Kwabena Dufour's push to regain control of his bank will not end anytime soon, as the Bank of Ghana is demanding that the case be moved to a different court. It is currently at the general jurisdiction of the High Court, but the central bank's lawyers say the commercial division should be handling the matter. Dr. Dufour is challenging the Bank of Ghana's revocation of Unibank's license and is asking for an order that the regulator revert ownership of the bank to him. Joy News' Joseph Akable was in court in our reports.
Lawyers of the Bank of Ghana were expected to move their application asking the court to set aside the case brought by Dr. Dufour. That did not happen, as they asked for some more time to respond to arguments filed by lawyer Chikata, who is representing Dr. Dufour, in opposition to their motion asking for the case to be set aside. Now, it was adjourned to Thursday with the expectation that that motion will be moved. But lawyer Frank Davis, who is leading the BOG's legal team, did inform the court on Thursday that they had written to the Chief Justice raising concerns about whether this case should be determined by the General Jurisdiction Division of the High Court, or it should be moved to the Commercial Division of the High Court. So since they are waiting that response from the CJ, they think it is appropriate that the court halt its proceedings, and that as far as they are concerned, this matter was not of an urgent nature such that the court should be in a hurry to dispense justice. But lawyer Chikata opposed this request. He argued that the case was of an urgent nature because as far as they are concerned, the Consolidated Bank of Ghana had been granted a license illegally, and each day of their existence perpetuates an illegality which the court must take urgent steps to remedy. So they want the proceedings to rather go ahead and not be put on hold. But Justice Daniel Mensah opted for the halt, saying that he thinks it's appropriate for the Chief Justice to settle the matter once and for all before the case proceeds. So he adjourned the case to October 17, where the expectation is that the Chief Justice would have provided clarification as to whether the case remains at the general jurisdiction or he moves to the Commercial Division of the High Court. Reporting for Joy News from the Law Courts Complex, my name is Joseph Akable.
Interior Minister Ambrose Derry has assured justice will be served in the incident in which 7 residents of Sosse were killed by police on the pretext they were armed robbers. The police said at the time they were chasing suspects who had earlier shot dead a policeman at Ayirebi Krum in the Amansie West District, also in the Ashanti region. The deaths sparked riots in the town. Delivering a statement on the floor of Parliament Thursday on the issue, Minority Chief Whip and MP for Sosse Muntaka Mubarak warned the peace there is still fragile.
The committee has since finished its work and submitted the report to the regional minister since 17 September 2018. Whilst the regional minister is at it, there's a lot of festering agitations, and any minor incident may detonate already very fragile peace. The Speaker, in the circumstances, I call on the House to invite the Minister for Ashanti region to come to this House to brief us on the happenings and the measures put in place so far to ensure that justice is not only done, but seen to be manifestly done. The Speaker, call for Mr. Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to continue to plead with the youth in Aswanse constituency, and for that matter, as Government municipality, to remain calm whilst efforts are being made to ensure that justice is done, and especially while the report is out. I will plead with the community elders to continue to hold the community together, and the youth, that they should know that even if justice is being sought, it can only be sought in a peaceful environment. It cannot be sought in a chaotic environment. And I hope that they will take our plea seriously and also plead with government to do what they can as fast as possible, just to be able to hold the community together.
Interior Minister Ambrose Derry says the presidency will soon act on the report of the investigative committee that investigated the issue.
Report to the presidency and is now under study, and we're going to make sure that the report is taken seriously and justice is done. I want to appeal to all concerned to listen. I join the Member of Parliament to appeal to all residents to remain calm, and that we will make sure that their rights are respected and that justice will be done in this matter.
Staying with Parliament, Chairman of the Communications Committee, Kennedy Jepong, is faulting Sector Minister Slowusu for the raging controversy over government's digital migration deal with Chinese broadcaster Star Times. The Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association has petitioned the committee to intervene over what it says is a preferential treatment given the Chinese firm by government over its Ghanaian counterparts. Mr. Ejepong says the minister would have to be blamed for keeping MPs in the dark.
We are here to decide. We haven't decided yet. We don't have a problem going to meet the minister, but I think the appropriate approach is to rather invite the minister to come to the committee and brief us. We are left in the dark. So today, I'm not too sure. Any member who wants to go has the liberty to go, but it is not the committee's position. That I'll be frank with you. It's not the committee's position to go.
Actually, invitation to the minister.
Yes, we have an invitation. It's a stakeholders meeting, and committee. We are also there. You see, my members will say that I have a slip lip. Now this problem happened because of the minister. I'll tell you like this, don't push me.
Chairman, it's okay.
This is okay. Let's say it. So we've decided to call the minister herself to come and brief us what happened.
The meeting between Giba and the committee was earlier disrupted after verbal exchanges between the chairman of the committee, Kennedy Jepong, and member Sam George, which degenerated to near fisticuffs. The two later addressed the media jointly about the incident.
We had a fantastic meeting with Giba, but initially there was misunderstanding between myself and Honorable Sam George. So we had to break for a while and then go to chamber. Apparently, I wasn't happy what he said yesterday with the Imani, but he had a reason for saying whatever he said because somebody made a statement actually insulting the integrity of the committee. So his response, we had earlier met that we were going to meet Giba on Thursday. So I was surprised to hear him talking. So I've apologized to him. Then I also questioned, why is it that I'm the chairman of the committee? You hear something like this, you don't tell me, say, well, you don't pick your phone sometimes, chairman. And I'm saying, you are not the woman, so I will not pick I will not pick you. So he also apologized to me. And so initially, yes, I confronted him because I was really furious of yesterday because of previous decision we had all taken. That is what happened. But
at the beginning of the meeting, there was some misunderstanding over my comments I'd made on the money platform yesterday. My chairman felt that post our Tuesday committee meeting, I should have stayed any comment on the matter. But I later drew his attention to the fact that someone had passed comments that cast aspersion on the integrity of the entire Committee of Communications. And that is why I had to go and clear the air on the money platform because the person had spoken to the media. And as a committee, we will continue to exercise our oversight responsibility. So anybody who says there was a fiscal confrontation, I am the son of a fisherman. And so if he had come with his black belt, he would have met a fisherman's son. So I mean, the committee is committed to doing our job, and there's fantastic relationships between all of us in the committee.
Deputy Information Minister Pius Sajide is blaming recent panic withdrawals and the collapse of some banks for the recent depreciation of the Ghana cedi. Addressing some spare parts dealers at Aposo Kai in Accra this morning, Pius Sajide called on the traders to exercise restraint as government explores ways to ensure that the import charges they say are too high and all other challenges confronting them are addressed. government, he says, has meanwhile rolled out plans to ensure that the spare parts dealers are comfortable enough to do business. Elfa Evans-Chineri's report.
These spare parts dealers gathered here are waiting anxiously to hear all the plans government has put in place to ensure their businesses thrive. Although they have various concerns, they decided to talk about issues including high import charges, poor sanitation, and bad roads. One after the other, they posed their questions to the Accra Mayor, the Deputy Information Minister, and a representative of the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority. Deputy Information Minister Pius Hajide says government will soon put up street lamp posts and fix all roads in the Abossey area. He also attributed the city's instability to the collapse of banks and panic withdrawals and called on the spare parts dealers to exercise restraint as government puts in place measures to handle the situation.
This is a town hall meeting that the Ministry of Youth, Ministry of Information is spearheading. We came here with officials of customs. We came here with officials from the AMA. The Member of Parliament is here. Officials from the Ministry of Finance is here. We are bringing government to the doorstep of the people of Abossey. We are engaging with them. We are listening government. We would explain government policy to them, and at the same time we will take feedback. And the feedback that we have taken is clear. The people are excited with the policies that are being implemented by this government. The people recognize that we are the ones who are abolishing and reducing taxes. But the people also know that for the meantime, we have some temporary challenges, and they are prepared to bear with us as we go along to resolve these challenges.
Accra Mayor Niaje Sosse says he's doing all he can to ensure that the issue of poor sanitation is dealt with effectively.
I mean, we have rolled out the plans already, and in the course of rolling out the plans, we encountered a few challenges, which of course are genuine concerns, and we are working on it. So when we came, I mean, there were heaps of refuse here when I assumed office. Today, you don't find the heaps of refuse here. What we find is littering, and it's just as a result of the numbers who are here. So we are also educating them to dispose of their refuse in a more responsible manner. That is one concern that we have. And then as well, because this place is very choked and compact, it is difficult for you even to do daily sweeping. So we do evening or night sweeping here at Abossey. We engage the services of a private contractor. The private contractor is supposed to service them and take a fee at the end of the month. The tabletop sellers will pay 5 Ghana cedis for a whole month, 31 days. And then the shop owners will pay 10 Ghana cedis. Unfortunately, half of them refused to pay, and that brought a problem. But a private contractor, it's not a philanthropist. So AMA then steps in, because wherever there's a refuse, it's the responsibility of AMA to step in to do that. But that is not the sustainable way to go. So we are stepping up our enforcement, because by law, you are supposed to register with an accredited service provider. And with that, we're stepping up our enforcement to ensure that indeed everybody registered with the accredited service provider.
Spare parts dealers who spoke to Joy News mentioned that they are satisfied with all the responses. They say they are hopeful government will deliver on its promises.
Some of the issues that were raised, today are issues that are of much concern, to us. With something like our roads construction, sanitation issues here. Those are issues, and then issues relating to import duties. Those issues are of much importance to us, and as you bear with me, those are the issues that were addressed here today. If you want to talk about the construction of our roads, we are all aware that the contractor is on site. It's on site now. The first road, which is supposed to be asphalted, has been done, and they are on the second road, today. So we know that since work is progressing, we have a firm conviction that everything will be okay.
Spare parts dealers say governments must make an effort to regularly meet with them to address their issues. Elfa Evans-Chineri for Joy News.
We'll take a break now. Tension is mounting between two Konkumba communities in the Yendi municipality over the construction of speed ramps in the Pasanando community. Pasanando and Jagando have been bickering over who has the right to construct the speed ramps. The Pasanando people, following frequent knockdowns of community members and livestock, built a ramp on the road built by the Jagando people. There is more in the following report by Martina Bugri.
A youth of the area, Paul Bingado, said even though they have followed legal process to get the speed ramps constructed, they are continuously harassed. He warned they may not be able to remain calm if it persists.
Removal of the speed ramps in this community is actually creating tension. We took so many legal steps in putting down the speed ramps that were removed. In the first place, when we put it, the MCE came with soldiers and then they removed it. And he told us the processes we should follow in putting those speed ramps. So we wrote letters to the Highways Authority, which after 3 months they came and then supervisors put the speed ramps. Now after that, 3 days later, the MCE sent security personnel to come here again to supervise us in removing it. Now we kept the speed ramps to protect lives and properties of our people here. If the DEC has come to remove it and now people's lives are lost, it is creating unnecessary tension which could result into serious conflicts. So we are feeling like our lives are in danger. Now that the DEC has removed those things, he has not told us any process we should follow in erecting those things, and no measures has been put to protect the lives and properties of the people of this community. So we are feeling like our lives are endangered, and we cannot or we may not be able to remain patient all our lives.
Another youth, Joseph Boachi, said their lives and livelihood are at stake, and when people's livelihoods are threatened, they will do everything to protect them.
The road that passed through our community here, there are many motorbikes and then vehicles that pass through, and a lot of our animals have been killed, and then some of our children have been knocked down by the motorbikes. So we thought this thing is creating danger unto us. So we put up a speed ramp to reduce that issue here. So when we put the speed ramp, the next community to our community, the 3 gentlemen came and removed that speed ramps, saying that the road belongs to them. For that matter, we are not supposed to put the speed ramps over there. But we thought it wise that it is not good that way, because when they knocked the first child in this community, the person never came to the hospital to visit. Even when we came home, the person didn't come. And if our animals had been killed, that is our livelihood, and that is our resources, and these things have been lost day in and day out, then it is going to be a problem.
Foster's brother was knocked down by a motorbike some months ago, and he said they spent so much to treat him.
My house is just by the road that we are about putting up a speed ramps. And then my younger brother was crossing the road to the farm. And then during that time, a motorbike passed by and then knocked him down. We sent the child to the hospital. Even though the guy didn't run away, the person who knocked him down. But during the process, even in the hospital, he never came to show any concern. And when we came back, the same thing. And then there was a lot of money that was spent on that, because you can't go to the hospital and just do what you want to do and go on free.
You are the assemblyman for the area. What is stopping the erection of the speed ramps, and it's creating problems between this community and the other community?
Okay, but I can't say anything about it here, but I don't know that you have come here today, so I can't say anything about it.
Okay. Whilst the highway authorities officers were locked, the MC said he was in a meeting. It is the hope of the people of Pasanando that the Ghana Highways Authority would intervene in this impasse and bring the matter to rest. For Joy News, Martina Bugri reporting from Pasanando in the Yendi municipality.
The celebration of this year's Kundum Festival of the Chiefs and People of Apremdo in the Ahanta traditional area in the Ifiakweti Mintim Metropolitan Assembly in the Western region turned bloody when two feuding factions in the Chieftaincy dispute in the area clashed Wednesday evening. Correspondent Ina Thalia Kwanza reports some residents suffered burns while some houses were torched.
Apremdo in the Ahanta traditional area and the Ifiakweti Metropolitan Assembly has been experiencing some chieftaincy dispute between two factions. One of the factions supporting the chief, Nana Eja Kwamena, had insisted that the Queen Mother, Nana Mozu, had been distilled, while the other faction backing the Queen Mother also claimed the chief had been distilled. They have therefore been accusing each other of not being the rightful heir. As part of the steps taken to ensure that peace prevailed in the area, the Metropolitan Security Council advised the people not to celebrate the Kundum Festival this year. However, one of the factions believed to be supporters of the chief decided to start the celebration with drumming and dancing on Wednesday evening, and while on it, the other faction confronted them, which resulted in the incident as narrated by this witness.
Around getting to 7:20.
Around 7:20. I heard someone shouting. Where is John? Where's the guy who wants to stop the Kundum Festival? Then they started throwing stones. The first thing they destroyed was the bulbs. They shook the doors, and when they opened, they destroyed the meter.
First thing now was saying meter. Now was started there where was scatter.
After destroying the meter, they started scattering the things, then set the place on fire.
Diesel na the go inside what it be what go sure now per manches what tomb.
Some houses were set ablaze, while some other persons suffered acid burns and cutlass wounds. The police were quickly called in to help restore order. The police had since arrested 9 persons in connection with the violence. Western Regional Police Public Relations Officer DSP Olivia Irabna Adiku confirmed the incident to Joy News. She says those occupying the house of the attack managed to escape, but the entire house and its contents were burned. Those injured, according to the police, are also on admission at the hospital. The police retrieved drums, daggers, machetes, gongongs, and talisman from those arrested.
Elsewhere, police at Ifiduase in the Ashanti region say a third-year business student of the local senior high school who was stabbed to death last night suffered very deep wounds. 18-year-old Derek Ajay died few minutes after he was sent to the Ifiduase Government Hospital with a stab wound in the neck Wednesday evening. He and a friend had scaled the school's fence wall to watch a football match when the attack occurred. My colleague Ohiming Teria has been following the story, and there's more in this report.
Police say the deceased and a friend had scaled the school's fence wall to watch a football match outside campus when the attack occurred. His friend, Douglas Obin, 17, has since given statement to police. Superintendent Asarbidiako is the Ifiduase District Commander. He says Douglas left the deceased in a pool of blood and proceeded to town to watch the football match without raising an alarm.
Yesterday around 7:30 p.m. we received a complaint at the charge office that a student by name Ajay, Derek Ajay, has been stabbed, and he's aged 18 years according to them. Then the story is that Derek and the mate, they are both business students and they are in the final year. The mate by name Obin Douglas, he's about 17 years. After close of school, they scaled the wall to go out to watch a football match. That was around 6:30 p.m. Whilst going, they were attacked by 2 men. The 2 demanded for their mobile phones and cash. Obin had just 2 CDs on him. They took the 2 CDs, but the deceased, Derek, had a mobile phone and money. But he refused to give the money and the mobile phone out. So he struggled. They attacked him and he struggled with them. And whilst resisting, one of them brought out an implement and stabbed him. Douglas, sensing danger, bolted. But instead of going back to the school, he rather went to town and watched the football match. Yes. Then the deceased, he was not dead. He didn't die on the spot. So he scaled back to the school compound, but couldn't walk to the dormitory. And he fell behind one of the boys' dormitories. So one of the students by name Nanaya was going to take his bath. When he found him, he raised an alarm, and most students came, assisted him, and they took him to the housemaster. Then the housemaster also took him to the hospital, but he was pronounced dead at the emergency ward.
Superintendent Bediakon describes the stab wounds as deep.
When there's a stab, and definitely the blood will drain into that is it. So I believe it was, though we couldn't see it wasn't like a sharp implement, but blunt one which was used to do that, something blunt, and I believe it went deep. Yes.
So it was
the collarbone and the neck area.
Meanwhile, academic work was in progress at the time of our visit, with lessons in session. A delegation from the school, led by headmistress, was said to have left to meet with the family of the deceased. From Efijasi in the Ashanti region for Joy News, Ohiminteria reports.
Nearly 1 month after 6 people drowned as a result of a collapsed bridge at Adija in the Ashanti region, danger still looms as the structure is yet to be fixed. A family which attempted to drive through the flooded Ankunim River on the fringes of the broken bridge was swept away by strong currents 3 weeks ago. Love Films Erastus Sasaridonko returned to the scene to find out what has happened since the tragic incident.
The 6 who perished here have since been buried, but the pain and the broken bridge still stare in the face of residents of Adija.
As you can see, the bridge is still as it is, collapsed midway and still broken. And as you can see, it rained for a bit yesterday and the water is rising. Sometimes it can rise and cover this whole area where we are standing. When it gets to that point, vehicles crossing this road will need a driver who is conversant with the situation, or else he will go through this end and that will be a disaster.
Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways, Kwabena Owusu-Aduomi, has indicated in an earlier interview the bridge can be fixed only when the rains stop. Road users, however, want a more speedy action to reconnect the community to the rest of Ghana.
Sometimes if it rains, the flooding comes to the road, so I find it very difficult to go to school. That's it. I always go to school early at dawn, around 3. So if it rains, I find it very difficult to cross the bridge. And for that of the reason, it of course that is the accident. 6 people were dead, and it was very sad. And so they came and looked. They talked. They said they will be going to. They are going to do something about it, and yet we don't know.
Both the bridge and the road are bad. We are pleading with authorities to fix them. The accident can repeat itself if care is not taken. The rains continue to fall, so it remains very risky to use this lane.
Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaridonko, Kumasi.
One of the 2 survivors of the mysterious Akle deaths at Akakpo Copper, Frank Akakpo, is demanding justice for his wife, 2 children and 3 others who died after eating the food prepared with corn flour in March this year. Speaking publicly for the first time about the tragedy, the former corn mill operator says times are now hard as he has had to abandon his job to undergo further treatment. Menzgold went back to the community in the Volta region 6 months after the tragedy and has come through with this report.
That was the mood at Akakpo 6 months ago when Joy News visited the community. 6 people had died after eating akple and okra soup. 6 months after the incident, the corn mill operator's shop remains closed. As we are told, he's seeking further treatment at home. Well, family members we've been speaking to are not happy about the pace of the prosecution. They hope that it will be speeded up for them to get justice.
Incident from here, so they don't know who did it, so they cannot bury them own.
A resident of the community volunteered to take me to the 2 unmarked graves where the corn mill operator's children were buried. It is just 100 meters away from where the people live. A woman is holding the 2-year-old daughter of the corn mill operator. She has been taking care of the little girl since her mother and 2 other siblings died, as his father also seeks further medical treatment in the regional capital, Ho. After an hour-and-a-half's drive, I'm now at Ho to meet the corn mill operator, Francis Akakpo. We sit on a bench as he narrates to me how the incident happened.
After grinding the corn, usually there's some left in the corn mill. Sometimes when it gets cold, we dry it in the sun. There was no one at home. I had gone to the farm, my wife had traveled to Ho, and my children were also in school. We never knew someone could poison the flour because we trusted the community people. When my sister came around, she said she was hungry. My son, Elias, gave her some of the corn flour and she used it. We only got to know it was poisoned after the death. The following day after eating, my children became sick.
He's not happy with the pace of the prosecution of the suspect as he demands justice for the 6 people who died.
The suspects used to threaten me before the incident happened. One of them told me he would kill me. The 2 suspects were freed. I want the community people to be arrested for questioning. The person who poisoned us is in the community. My house is empty now. Everyone is scared to go there.
He says the South Tongue District Assembly and some people who pledged to help him find his feet again have not fulfilled their promises. Through akple and okra soup, families and friends have formed unbreakable ties at Akakpo. But a bowl of akple is now a traumatic reminder of how Theodora Akakpo, Elias Akakpo, Lucy Akakpo, and 3 others died.
The Food and Drugs Authority sometime in March tested the corn flour blamed for the death and it's established it contained chlorpyrifos, toxic substance used in killing pests. Now imagine being unable to take in any food or even water through your mouth. That is Dorcas Ibrahim's condition now after a substance she ingested left her throat sealed. Her father, who is a peasant farmer, says the incident, which happened 3 years ago, has forced Dorcas to drop out of school. Nancy Mefajra-Toze has more.
6-year-old Dorcas Ibrahim may look completely healthy and fit till you see this. Dorcas has for 3 years been taking food through these tubes after her throat got blocked when she took in some drugs meant for external use only. His father, Ibrahim Issa, narrates what happened that fateful day.
When you have 3 years, now I deal with two, and to share almost 3 years ago, until free school, now about or your school, no more than a baby say, I no one tiapo.
This happened 3 years ago. After school, she was reported ill. She took medicine which doctors say is not meant to be ingested. She has since been unable to eat except through these tubes.
I can't the drugs and honor or no more. And I this problem with bread. I'm more in game of phone to say my ban on accident. Timbedu and who say, a said running at the hospital. Into hospital and a doctor and define say, said drone, a drubia, and I are colanasa. And the better 3 years in a quantity minute in fine. Nina say tube na Dr. Timbo Modi a be in the F no de tube in share. A one way did 3 years in.
He says he had plans for his daughter, and all of that is crashing down as the condition has forced Dorcas to drop out of school.
Yeah, they be a me said me ban when you're almost 6 years on school.
It worries me that my 6-year-old is not in school anymore. She cries anytime she sees her mate, and I'm equally very worried. Any help will be appreciated. I just want her to be able to eat. She cries whenever I'm eating.
Sisi ya mwa bia ni pebeti mi aboa ne se ombeti mi aye ntobo akakra na meti mi da hwa kwala no na wabewe tseme sebi otimi didi ekoba de akamia meti mi handle ahwe ne manako school no bebi opeso kudu bia meti mi ahwe but sisi ya wotoyo ntimi didi die manka na boye ma hometi hie ntimi kra nso didi because otimi nchena mi didi na onusu.
Dorcas, despite her condition, has hope of becoming a medical doctor in future. They have been able to pay 2,000 Ghana cedis out of 8,000 needed to restore Dorcas back to her normal state. They urgently need 6,000 Ghana cedis to undergo the surgery.
But they are two and they are man saying in idea. Men come to me because almost 3 years in committee me as Siano Quaya come Siano Quaya, but men to me and this so one to me and yelling in a pepe because of Sika 70. And this is a Sika doctor, I should show a film honor. Almost
I've been able to raise about 2,000 Ghana cedis out of the 8,000. I need help.
Almost 6.740 mami and also me yere me tuya mu 17 million enti dia Canada me ntimi tuya mu bia bi.
Nancy Emefadra Dose, Joy News.